right, man. We're live. We're live here on a Wednesday edition of the Slate. Couple golf gurus, not three. Reed's doing like real work right now, though.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. I know. I didn't check with him what he was doing this week. I just knew he was off. So I was very tempted to bug him and be like, he's just you're slacking. You're making us pick up the work. But if he's like doing real work, I forgot that he sometimes does real work, unlike us.
Yeah. Me too. And then I saw that he tweeted out a picture of the Chili's and the Jacksonville airport, which we all know, he's there doing PGA Tour live stuff. And with match play, the whole match play event, Dell Technologies match play, that starts today. It starts, today's Wednesday. Yeah, that's what I've already said that. Yeah. Dude, this is great. We're off to a hot start. Jeff Ulrich, Emerson Lancia here. But I think the big news of the day is a massive signing by the Patriots with Malcolm Butler. That's what everyone's talking about. Coming back to New England. Oh, yeah, that's right. And Tyreek Hill making his way from the Chiefs to Miami this morning on the sweat. News started breaking towards the end. We had the football segment last. And, Pierce was so adamant that this was not happening. This was all for him to get, leverage when it comes to negotiating with the Chiefs, try to get a fat contract like Devontae Adams did. And then lo and behold, Jeff, it happened, man. This is crazy. No one saw this coming at all.
No, I think you could have, put the, if you really were focusing on Tyreek Hill, I'm sure some Chiefs fans were out there is Tyreek going to get signed or, this could potentially be troublesome, but I don't think even in their wildest dreams, they were like, oh yeah, well, he's not coming back this year. I think most people put that as a 1 or 2% chance. And then it was boom, snap, crackle, pop, man. He's out of here. So I think it's a case of Tyreek Hill just was like, okay, you know what? I got my Super Bowl, guys. I got to do what's best for me. And that's cash in, which he did today. Obviously, Miami rewarding him with a massive contract. And I can't say I necessarily blame him. I think that Tyreek Hill too probably doesn't get enough respect. Maybe he was, and I said that this morning, maybe he was the third most important person on that team, but he's a very important third. He is a very unique player. He's up there with Deebo Samuel and what he can do as a wide receiver, right? There's not many players who can kind of act in the backfield like that. Just have the pace to just rip a defense off, but also, are so good in the short passing game too, because that's what guys like him can do. So I think that him being paired with a Mike McDaniels, who obviously just helped turn Deebo Samuel into
bingo,
one of the most valuable wide receivers in the league, is very, very interesting. But it is Tua Tagovailoa, not Patrick Mahomes, right? So it's going to be really.
It's a downgrade, dude. It's a downgrade for Hill. His fantasy value has been downgraded.
It is.
No matter how you twist it. It is.
He was a top 3 wide receiver. He's made maybe top 2 wide receiver last year. It's even just trying to stretch it and see the best case scenario. He's I just don't see him getting 12 targets per game. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I think he will get those short targets. I think he's going to be some great setups from McDaniel's offense for him, but the deep balls, those big explosion passes, and then the volume is probably going to go down a bit too, because Jalen Waddle's there too. Jalen Waddle's a very similar player in a lot of regards, and there's only so many targets they can feed both those guys. So it's kind of a shame from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, that's why I thought okay, there are quite a bit of mouths to feed down there now too. So I immediately was Devontae Parker, you're out. It took you 5-6 years or whatever to finally burst on the scene, get 1,000-yard season, but you're done. I also think this could actually hurt Waddle a little bit, because it was Mike McDaniel who was quoted less than a month ago saying all right, he's going to be the Deebo Samuel on this offense. Now I think you're obviously going to have to work Tyreek Hill into that. And let's not forget, Mike McDaniel wants to make this a run-first football team. He does.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you just look at San Francisco's offense last year too, they ran the ball a lot. And sure, I'm sure Tyreek Hill's probably going to factor in. I think you can pencil him in for 2 or 3 rushes too, but I don't think you're going to be seeing a Deebo Samuel situation where he's all of a sudden taking 10 carries a game. So I worry about the volume here. I think Tyreek Hill is unique enough that he'll still factor in as like a top 12 wide receiver. But you got to take it down a notch. It's going to be really interesting to see when we get to season long draft where people have him pegged in, because there may be a tendency for people to overreact here too, and just be like, well, I don't want to draft anyone from this Dolphins offense. And I think that's probably a mistake too. But man, like I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. It's cool from a real life perspective. I'm happy for the Dolphins. I'm happy for Dolphins fans. I'm happy for Tua too. Tua's a good guy. Like, he went through this whole mess with Deshaun Watson, didn't say a thing. He tried to let his play do the talking. I'm glad he's getting a chance, even if he's not like, if I don't see him as that upside and option, that's fine. But I'm glad he's getting a chance with Mike McDaniels too. So good for Miami from the fantasy standpoint, which is what we care about, and like odds. I think it gives Miami at least a shot at the division. I'm not super bullish on them taking down Buffalo, but at plus 400, am I taking them over the Patriots today? Absolutely.
Yeah. Tua is set up for this breakout season now after two, certainly not great campaigns there, but this day was eventually going to come. Like, this deal, Jeff, makes sense for both sides because the Dolphins needed that dominant, like, number one wide receiver. They did. And then at the same time, now this day was going to come for the Chiefs either way. It's what happens when you give your quarterback like $500 million, and then that cap hit's going to increase more and more. And now they get the draft capital it's not like a reloading. I mean, you're going to restock. You're going to restock your roster with some young players there to partner up with Patrick Mahomes. But in terms of the odds there, like for what do we have? What do you have pulled up? All right, so for conference winner, let's see. Previously plus 2,800 for the Dolphins, and they go to it shortens to plus 2,000 there. Super Bowl winner went from plus 4,500 down to plus 3,500. Then division winner, you already had those punched up plus 400. It was previously plus 650.
Yeah. And I think the division is, I mean, look, the Miami Dolphins going to win the AFC conference. Who knows? I mean, we saw the Bengals do what, a lot of people didn't think that, and they even had a sniff in hell to do last year. Right. So it's certainly live, but, I think that you could also make an argument that, like, that's maybe just like a bridge too far. I do think that the division winner at plus 400, it's not terrible. I mean, going back to those odds, like we have Buffalo at minus 190. I mean, I don't want to bet Buffalo at minus 190, even though I do think that they're the clear favorite. If you're forcing me saying, like, what's the best bet here? It's probably the Dolphins today. It really is. They still have cap room. They've got a head coach who's been, installed, like we know, has a very successful offensive program. And, they've certainly had better free agents moves than the Patriots, who, like you said, made the biggest ring of the day with Malcolm Butler, which I just laughed when I saw that. I mean, it's just like, why? Like, why Malcolm Butler? I mean, gets benched in the Super Bowl. I don't even know. I'm glad Adam Kaufman isn't on the show today, because that's all we'd be talking about. But
it's true. That was like 7 years ago where Tua was in his prime, and then. There's a reason the Cardinals just cut the guy, because there are reports that they saw like him hitting the bottom, and like that's why they cut ties with him. And then the Bats were like, all right, we'll give you $9 million. There wasn't much else out there. I mean, hell, they could have gone out there and brought like Gilmore back. That may have just been a little more pricey, but there was like, I tweeted today, like, I'm old enough to remember when Stephon Gilmore and JC Jackson were in the same secondary together. And that would have been absolutely perfect here for trying to shut down some of these scary ass weapons now in the AFC East. I mean, don't even get me started on the AFC West. Every team's got a franchise quarterback locked in right now. Well, it's just going to be dudes going blow for blow.
I mean, you can get all AFC West teams to make the playoffs at plus 2,000. I don't even know if I hate that bet off the top.
I don't know either, dude. But
I mean, like, and look, that's the other factor of this, right? Like, I guess we should be looking at, this affects the Chiefs a lot, right? I mean, right now they're at plus 165. The Broncos have moved to plus 220. We almost have co-division favorites here with the Broncos and the Chiefs, which is super interesting.
Wow.
Not much respect there being given to Andy Reid right now. They could make a move. They could bring in like a Jarvis Landry or Julio Jones too. and maybe plug a little bit of a hole. But they've already signed Juju Smith-Schuster, and they have Mecole Hardman and Byron Pringle. Obviously, nothing close to Tyreek Hill, but when you have Patrick Mahomes, who can certainly elevate. I'm like we were talking about before the show. I'm ready for baseball to just be over, and because I want to see this play out. I'm very excited just to see how this AFC West plays out next year. I love Russ. The Chargers are an exciting team. I want to see Patrick Mahomes elevate this Chiefs team to potentially show people that it wasn't all Tyreek Hill or that that he can do it without him. And then look, man, Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, these guys could put up numbers too. So
their numbers, the 2 seasons they were together at Fresno State were absolutely insane. And I read that they've always remained great friends off the field. And I see some of like these dominating duos around the NFL, and a lot of them, you could Google it, that the dudes are really cool with each other, like off the field, will hang out, are tight, are boys. Like that goes far in this league.
It's as Adam Levitan often throws out. It's a shower narrative. These guys are used to hanging out in the locker room with each other and just hanging out. So
a little whip of the towel.
That's right. I mean, it's what it is, and I think it's true. Like as a quarterback wide receiver combo, you kind of got to have the Vulcan mind meld, man. I mean, it's just we're talking like inches movement, to make a successful pass and catch. So. I don't know. The NFL just continues to deliver news for us. I mean, every day I'm like, oh, this is going to be the week, but there's not much NFL to talk. We just get more and more. So I'm happy for it. But yeah, Chiefs. And there's still wide receivers out there, man. Julio, Jarvis. There's a few names to drop. So this cycle isn't done.
All right. So, off that point, I was thinking here like a little bit before the show. I'm like, who are the winners? Who are the losers like of this trade? Just like right off the top of my head. And immediately I'm thinking the 2 biggest losers in this trade is obviously Patrick Mahomes. He loses his deep threat. He's officially entered that territory, Jeff, where he's going to need to be the guy, the quarterback that makes lesser talent around him better. You've seen it with Aaron Rodgers, seen it with Tom Brady. Like Mahomes, now is the time to do it. And also Travis Kelce, because defense has paid attention to Hill. Defense has paid attention to that deep ball. They wanted to shut that down. And when they did that, Travis Kelce had room and could do whatever he wanted, like underneath, right? Defenses will make him a priority now, and he is going to take more of a pounding. That 32-year-old body of his is going to take much bigger of a pounding. And the chemistry, yes, is still going to be there, Jeff, between those two. But the production, I don't know if the production will still be there.
Yeah. We saw Travis Kelce start slow last year too. Like there was rumblings that
the whole team
might be smart to move on from him. And I think if they had a choice, that's probably what they would have done. But I don't think they really had a choice in this matter. It's they can't just, Tyreek Hill was obviously a free agent and they tried to resign him. And, it was just easier to trade him without a contract. Right. So, there is trouble brewing for the Chiefs this year. I really do believe that. I think that, last year they righted the ship and they had all hands on deck and they made that one last run. But I mean, Andy Reid is very good at picking skill players out in the draft, or he has been at times in the past. Okay. Can he pick out like another Tyreek Hill or something? I mean, I think he's almost going to have to this year to add a little bit to that offense. And like you said, maybe take some heat off Travis Kelce, who I think was in a position to like potentially start his decline and not really in a position where you want him to take on more responsibility, probably less. Right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this division and I got the Jets up also as a big loser today because they were in the Tyreek Hill sweepstakes. And now they're like, they were already the clear fourth, but now they're like so far in the rearview mirror in that division as
look at that.
You can't even see the plus 2,200 anyways. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this division and I think the Broncos and Chargers, specifically the Broncos with Russ, man. I mean, I know there's recency bias and all this, but I have been the biggest Russell Wilson fan for a while. And I'm just salivating at him finally getting his chance. Get plus 750. Yeah. That's where I would go in that division right now. It is. I think they got a stable defense. I think they've got a head coach with some experience and just a quarterback who is almost like a coach on the field at this point in his career anyways. So I'm pretty bullish on the Broncos right now. And I think this move, losing Hill, is going to affect the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I see how you feel about the Broncos is kind of how I feel about the Chargers, because we've seen like what they were able to. They brought back mostly everyone like on that offense, and then you signed J.C. Jackson, who you can use to shut down like some of these ace wide receivers inside the division, like he and Devontae Adams. That's going to be dangerous, like 2 times there in the regular season. Also, Khalil Mack, right? Then the Chargers just bring on Khalil Mack. Like it's crazy what the AFC West has done this season to try to loosen the Chiefs like stranglehold on this division. And you mentioned it, like last year, there were some signs the team started off slow. There were cracks in the armor. I know that they've won the division like 6 years straight, but man, these teams are doing everything they can to knock them off.
Yeah. And that's what's going to make it so exciting, because when it all boils down to it, and even as much as I like Russ and as good a quarterback as Justin Herbert appears to be, the best player in the division is still Patrick Mahomes, right? So the Chiefs, it's almost like just pulling the trump card. It's like, okay, just throwing it down at the end of like, there you go, guys. Like we're just going to play the Mahomes card, and that could still be enough. So it's going to be super interesting to see how that plays out. I haven't even touched on like Matt Ryan and stuff, but I mean that's going to be, with the Colts now sitting as co-favorites there. Steve Buchanan and I on opposite sides of that right now. I've switched my allegiance right now. I've said that I think the Colts should be favored, but I still kind of like both teams. But yeah, I like. So let's put it this way: to sum up, I like the move for the Colts. Matt Ryan, traditionally, just even last year, he had very good grades from a clean pocket. It's just that he never had clean pockets with the Falcons. The Colts have one of the best O-lines in the league. He's going to have way more clean pockets. He's going to be under pressure less. And I think that he's still, at 37, I think there's still at least one more good season to be coaxed out of him. So,
I mean, he definitely fixes the Carson Wentz mistake that they made. And I'm not kidding. I think if Carson Wentz, if they don't lose to the Jaguars in week 18, I think Carson Wentz is back. Like he probably is, dude. They couldn't get over the fact that he sucks so much in that just must-win game. You can't beat the worst team in the league.
It's a bad look. And I think the thing is, with a guy like Carson Wentz too, and this is the difference between Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. Carson Wentz, I mean, without getting into the whole like vaccine thing, it's just the things he does behind the scenes. And he did it in Philly too. If you don't perform and you're out there talking smack about your teammates or saying like the wrong things like he was in Philly, or just not leading by example, if you don't succeed, you're going to get called out, and the team notices those things. And, Matt Ryan doesn't do those things. Like he's always been kind of like the team guy, and you can say, well, that's not a big deal or whatever, but the teams notice that stuff. And it's happened with Wentz at 2 stops now. And I wasn't surprised to see them, I was surprised to see them sign him in the first place, but I kind of get it from the sense of, maybe we can coax one upside season out of this guy. But I wasn't shocked to see him go after what happened, because just all indications, this guy just kind of rubs people the wrong way off the field. And that's fine if you're performing on the field, but when you don't, you're going to get your bags packed in the NFL pretty quick.
Yeah. Like he's lined up. He's in position to have a hell of a year in his first year there. I mean, just hand the stinking ball off and don't lose the games. Like
I think it's very much a Peyton Manning going to Denver situation. I mean, it's behind like a good O-line.
Which season there? Because
that's true. Okay. Not the record-breaking one, more like towards the end of his career. We didn't have to do that much, right? I'm not saying Brock Osweiler is going to come in and replace Matt Ryan or something, but I think Matt Ryan could have a very solid year, and not to the point where he's going to rebound and be like, challenging the leaders in the AFC.
Yeah.
For like, the passing title or something, but I think he could rebound, have a solid enough year that people would be surprised a bit. And I think they've got enough playmakers. I mean, he might just have to dump it off to like Taylor and Hines and hit Michael Pittman on a couple throws every game, and that'll probably be enough.
Who does he have the tight end there? Is it Mo Alley Cox? And then you got to hope that like Tyreek Campbell, like he can stay healthy as a wide receiver.
They can still bring in someone too. Like I think Indianapolis to guys like Julio. I mean, that was the other thing I was going to bring up this morning. Like Julio Jones sitting there on the sidelines. Hello, Matt Ryan. Like I'll come back and win a Super Bowl with you. Why not?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking like, where can the Chiefs go to kind of replace Tyreek Hill? Where can some of these other teams, the Colts, maybe put another dude around Matt Ryan? Some of the options out there, MVS, but I think I saw a report MVS now kind of flirting heavily with the Chiefs, which in a way he could fill the Tyreek Hill role by just running really fast straight. But besides that, like really tough to compare him to Tyreek Hill and how shifty is. Deshaun Jackson's out there. I mean, OBJ. So what is going to happen with OBJ? He's clearly someone that one of these teams is going to take a chance on. I think he wants to, according to reports, wants to return to the Rams. But
yeah, I think he probably, I wonder what if that sentiment is still as heavy after seeing the Allen Robinson signing. Like, I think OBJ
but then
is a
Woods
big winner of today's news. I mean, I think OBJ is a big winner of the Matt Ryan move and of the, because that's two teams now who could be looking and saying, look, we're like an OBJ away from winning, like the Rams were, right? So, I mean, if Odell can come back and he makes a quick recovery, I think that, like, look, we've seen Andy Reid bring in guys. I mean, he brought in Josh Gordon. He will absolutely go down that route. He doesn't have a problem. Andy Reid's a good handler of people, and he will do. They brought in Lev Bell, right? And if it doesn't work out, Andy Reid will just say, okay, it doesn't work out. But he will absolutely go down that route. Now, I think that's a very viable solution for the Chiefs because, I mean, I think the Chiefs also understand, like, they're in an arms race right now. They are getting, assaulted from all sides, and they might need Odell to kind of hold down the fort. So yeah, that's I think Odell's a big winner of today's news. I think he's a winner of the Colts potentially looking like maybe they're one piece away as well, and it he's still got a long way to go because I mean it was only the Super Bowl where he got injured, but if he can get back quick, man, I would not be shocked to see the Chiefs exploring that option. And MVS is interesting. If he did go to a team like the Chiefs, I mean, people have been speaking up his skill set for a while, and he's more skilled than I think. Like he's kind of his production in Green Bay is necessarily given off. Like he can really burn downfield, but can he turn into like more of a possession receiver and more of like an all around guy like Tyreek Hill? I don't know. I think the Chiefs, if they sign MVS, they're kind of more saying, okay, we're like going quantity over quality because now we got like three guys who can all run like 4.4 faster, and Hardman, MVS, and Pringle. Well, Pringle's not like a 4.4 guy, but he's close. But these guys can all get downfield quick. Good luck covering all three of them with Mahomes. That's more of like just we're going to throw three guys at you instead of one. So. Did we lose you? Am I still there? Oh, you lost audio?
I can't hear you. If you're talking, like, honestly, dude, something happened to my computer.
Okay.
Actually, don't know what's happening right
I can hear
It is
you.
literally
Can you hear
crapping all over itself. I am very upset inside. Hold on. Woosah, bro. Woosah. All right, here we go. I got you back.
Okay. I was just going to bring up the golf odds while we were waiting.
So. Then I go, okay, here we go. I will say something. When my mouth stops moving, you say something. What's going on right now out there? When I watched for a little bit today, I saw Justin Rose hit it like OB, I think on that par 3 17th. It's, again, a Pete Dye par 3 17th. Like that's pretty interesting. And then from the drop area, rolled it back, spun it back to save par. And I think he beat like Adam Scott on that hole.
Yeah. That was like the big news of the morning, or the big shot of the morning. Scott still won the match, but yeah. Rose did hole out there in the crazy, but Scott held on.
I'm sure you guys talked about like the past couple of days, obviously like DFS wise, like this thing started Wednesday, rosters are built out, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like betting after like a tournament's already started, like what are you looking for?
So, I mean, the match play is obviously like a super unique week.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go through the odds. If you have a favorite and they won their match today, I mean, their odds are getting like cut. Like we can just go up at the top. I mean, like Xander won today. He's still plus 1,600, which is almost even like a little bit shorter than I thought it'd be. But like, you've got guys like Hovland down there. JT lost, but you've got guys like Hovland, Morikawa won. So he's he's at plus 1200. So, for the match play, if you want like the value, so to speak, like you've got to look at guys who either have or lost today. And or you've got to go with like a non-elite, like a Luke List. I mean, Luke List beat Justin Thomas today. He's set up good, but he's still at plus 6,000. So I'm not saying List is like my pick here to get on the live odds, but I'm just telling you, like, you've got to understand who you're betting on. Like if you're betting on a favorite and they lost, which is what Justin Thomas did, he's at plus 5,000. Even Justin Thomas can win his next two matches and still not advance. So that's why Justin Thomas is at plus 5,000 today. It's a big thing to lose your first match in this format, because you basically said, okay, my destiny isn't in my hands anymore. So it's risky, but you could certainly find some value. Daniel Berger's another guy who's down here, lost today. In this scenario, I prefer looking at guys like List and like a Maverick McNeely, players who won today, but they're still available at like decent odds. Like plus 6,000 is big odds for these guys. And don't forget, we saw Victor Perez last year, and like Billy Horschel won the event. I mean, these players are kind of a similar ilk. So a guy like Maverick McNeely can certainly get hot and get himself to the final. I'm not necessarily making these guys picks to win or anything, but just trying to give a point where if you're looking at the odds, realize what you're getting into. Actually, that's an interesting bet. Siwoo Kim, because I didn't he beat Berger today.
Yeah,
Siwoo Kim is a player who is capable of winning this event. I mean, he's a he's obviously won the Players, so I just want to make sure I got that.
Jeff, do you look for guys who have good match play records? Like there are some dudes who become different beasts when you get them in this format.
I mean, not really. Like honestly, for this event, I feel like this event is so weird the way it falls on the schedule. I mean, if a guy has a good match play record, that's great. But I'm not necessarily like crossing guys off if they have like bad match play records. Like it's just, I think you come into this event and either you're like psyched for it and you get on a roll early, or you just don't. And like your match play record isn't going to necessarily get you motivated. It's going to give you some experience if you get in the mix. Like if it gets down to it and we get to the semis and it's like a guy who's got a great match play record versus a guy who doesn't. Yeah. I mean, like I'll probably side with the match play record there, but for pre-event and stuff, and even like this early in the tournament, I don't look too much at it. Like Siwoo Kim doesn't have a good match play record, but he's one up on Daniel Berger right now. If he wins this event, if he wins his first match, that's really good odds for a guy like Siwoo Kim, who's won the Players, who's got a great Pete Dye track record. Is going to be a great spot to win his pod now if he goes 1-0. So you're still taking a shot because he hasn't closed out Berger yet. He's only one up, but those are the kind of players I'd be looking for. Players with legit pedigree, potentially getting a leg up today.
Yeah, you mentioned the Players. I mean, I still can't believe JT's looking for his first win since the 2021 Players. He did have an unfavorable draw. Like that was a tough draw for him. I know there's Luke Less, but now like Kevin Kisner, right, who I think won this thing in like 2019.
Yeah. And Leishman. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Actually, he did kind of fall in like a tougher group. And like Luke List isn't, he's not like, we could go down the proverbial, the actual.
You could go down the list.
I mean, he didn't get like Matthew Wolf, who hasn't like shot under par since like last Christmas, or like 47-year-old Lee Westwood. Like he got, like Luke List is a winner this year. I mean, he's playing good golf. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah, JT did get a bad draw, especially compared to a guy like Xander, who got a very good draw, and I think could definitely make a run this week.
So for anyone who still wants to do like regular Thursday through Sunday kind of betting, or at least on the fantasy side, there is a whole nother tournament being played right now too, right?
Oh yeah, I mean we can definitely.
But no, here you could do. You want to do matchups? Yeah, let's look at that first.
Sure, yeah. Let's go through matchups. We still got like 10 minutes, and then we can hit on Corrales. Yeah, which we'll end with. We don't need to talk about too much about it. I mean, like I think Hudson Swafford's the favorite or something in Corrales, so we don't need to get too deep into Corales and the Punta Cana Open. But
Jonathan Vegas is there, man. Come on.
We've got So we don't have the pod odds up anymore. We do have some matchups up. Connors versus Usti. I don't know. Let's scroll down here. I mean, like look, and again, when you're looking at matchups, I can't stress enough. Like most of these spots, I'll be looking to take the underdogs. I think Robert McIntyre over Kokrak is something I'd be fine with. McIntyre's super, he's definitely played some match play over in Europe. super talented player. I don't mind him as an underdog. I don't mind Brian Harman either as an underdog. He grinded back against Webb Simpson very well today because he got down 3 early, but couldn't close it out. I actually really like that bet. Answer hasn't really played that well. I think Harman and Answer should probably be closer to even. So I don't mind those plus odds on Mr. Harman either there. I don't think Herbert versus Schauffele. I mean, I'm not betting Schauffele at minus 195, but I'd probably just stay off that one. So I think Harman right now, of just the few matchups we got up here, probably my favorite, but I don't hate that McIntyre bet either. He's super talented. So there's a couple matchups I'd be targeting. And again, this guy right here, Brian Harman, probably my favorite up on the board. Surprised you're getting plus odds there. I think that's a matchup that should be pretty much even money.
Okay, so hop on that now if you like it. Were there any surprising day one results?
Well, I mean, I'd be remiss to say that my guy Russell Henley was up 3 through 9 holes and then lost by 1 to Kevin Na. So
wait, did he really? I thought I was watching when Henley had that nice eagle.
Yeah.
On a par 5. Oh my God, bro. He out bombed Kevin Na by 80 yards on that hole too. Kevin Na, he
chipped in 3 times on the back 9. I mean, that's just what Kevin Na does. So screw him. Anyways, that was kind of upsetting, but other big upsets. I mean, Luke List taking down JT was certainly, that was a big one. There's some blowouts. Maverick McNeely won by 8 holes today over Joaquin Niemann. I think that was a bit of a shock. Joaquin Niemann was the number 1 seed and the favorite to win that group. So Niemann obviously coming to this event, maybe not super caring about it.
So Bryson, how do you think Bryson looked? I saw him get up there, kind of pushed his driver way right into a tent. He ended up splitting the hole, believe it or not. But man, he was talking about he was going to take it easy. And then one of his drives, someone posted in a 10-mile-an-hour wind, went 372 yards. That's taking it easy for him.
He looks rusty. I mean, he looks rusty is the best way to put it. And I think that the one thing about Bryson, I do think the rust will wear off quick. If he can, he's tied with Richard Bland through 12 holes. Yeah. If he can get through this match, I think you will see him play better. So, I mean, Bryson, it's actually interesting. We're looking at the odds. We'll go back down to this.
And remember, this first stage, if you end all tied after 18, I think you just get a half point, right?
Yeah, there's no overtime in the at least in the group stage. So
if you're him, you can get out there and get a half point right now. First time playing it forever.
Yep.
It's not, but you are playing 49-year-old Richard Bland.
Yeah. And again, I mean, you want the win. This is pretty important. But if you're interested, Bryson's at plus 5,000 right now. He's tied right now. If he pulls this match out, he's probably going to get his odds cut in half. He's probably going to be plus 2,500, plus 3,000 or something. Okay. So I actually don't hate that. I mean, Bryson is a dude, and I went over this. He prepares well for events. He's come off long layoffs pretty well over his career. So the other guy, I would, if you're not on yet, I mean, Max Homa was one of my favorites to start the event, and he's one up over Matt Wolf right now. He's up plus 5,500 on DraftKings. Those are a couple guys out of the course right now. You're taking a little bit of risk because they haven't closed out their match, but they're both leading. Or excuse me, Max Homa's leading. Bryson's tied, and I like their potential at the very least. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Take me over to the other tournament real quick. Any of these
I'm gonna take you to Punta Cana. How's that? Don't say I never take you anywhere.
Please do. I know you're already in a semi. No, it's not tropical where you are.
It's
almost cold. Yeah, it's very, very deserty, man. All right, what are you doing here? Because there's people who love to bet golf, so it doesn't matter where it is or who's in the field.
I mean, look, I could talk about this event for hours. I mean, this.
You know what? I actually could too. It's really sad, actually. What are we doing?
So, to start off, you don't have to hit the front of the board if you're looking for a full-fledged card. Just realize that Punta Cana and these kind of resort courses, they bring in all different styles, and it sometimes it ends up being more of a putting contest than don't expect a US Open to break out or anything. So oftentimes we see these veterans, Bryce Garnett went down there and won last year because he just, was so slick around the greens. Hudson Swaffer, another veteran who's won. I can't even remember. Oh, Joel Dahman is another dude. You know, just
Joel
a solid
Dahman
all-around player.
isn't he the defending champ? Joel
He is
Dahman?
Joel Dahman, and he's the favorite this year too, a plus 1600. So I'd probably be looking for that type of player. I like Matthias Schwab. I like Grayson Sig. I don't know if I'd be picking them for this event necessarily. Like the odds don't look terrible, but I'd probably go further down. I'd look for players, with a little bit more like, I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah, look at some of these guys. I know Peter Eula. I recognize that. There's Graham McDowell, Martin Keimer.
And Graham McDowell's won the Puerto Rico Open. Like he's won an event like this too. So
okay.
Jonathan
Vegas is a guy who's always like consistent and makes a lot of money in these smaller like field events.
He never
like
wins
weaker field events. Yeah. No, he doesn't.
But he finishes like top 5. You're right. He comes in like second or something. I think Aaron Ray has a little bit of interest to him. I'd rather have someone who's played like this event before. So, I mean, I don't even really hate the idea of going to like Graham McDowell here, to be honest. I mean, Wyndham Clark is like another name, a guy who can just really put the lights out. He's shown flashes of playing okay recently. Actually, honestly, my favorite bet, and this is like actually one of the only guys I bet for this event, is Kirdesh Appy Barnrat. And
dude, the vaping machine.
This dude was second in the fall over the BMW PGA Championship at the Euro Open. He's actually played okay his last couple PGA starts too. He Monday qualified for an event, so he's been flashing some good form. And Kirdesh, he plays all over the world, man. So like this is not a big deal to him. He can get super hot with the putter. I look at this field and I'm a little surprised that he's at plus 8,000. I mean, I would much rather take a shot with him than, like Dylan Wu or like Nick Hardy or Jonathan Bird. I mean, I think you're actually getting pretty good value to bet him, especially considering he's shown a little bit of form. So, this event is what it is, man. Like it's super high variable. Someone's going to get super hot with the putter and win this thing. Probably someone who we didn't even mention here, but I think Appy Barnrat is very capable of doing just that. And I think this is a good setting for him. So I'm a little surprised to see him this high in the odds because, like I said, he's made a couple cuts. He had a pretty good fall and he like Monday qualified, which is really hard to do to an event. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. So he's not been bad.
Where's my guy Sahith Theegala? Where's he? Is he towards the top? I just like his story. I really like that. A few weeks.
I was going to say if he's in the field, which I couldn't even remember. He's definitely one of the favorites. I mean, this guy's going to be, he was a very prolific college winner.
Yeah, he
was going to be good.
Again, where was he? Was that in Phoenix, bro? Where he competed like a little bit? Remember? And then his parents were there afterwards, and I was like, you learn about the kid and how he's expected to be like a nice young rock solid up and comer, as you mentioned. And he had the T7 at Valspar and continues to show he's on the upswing. This could be it.
It could. It's typically not the event we see the young guys break through at, but I mean, I like this guy too. He had a really, like when he first came out of college, people were expecting big things. He kind of struggled for a year, but he held it together really well at Phoenix. I mean, there was a point where I was like, wow, this dude's going to pull it off. And it's going to suck for my Scotty Scheffler bet. But, he was nice enough to step aside that week, but it certainly wasn't because of like poor play. I mean, he's certainly going to win something on the PGA Tour. I feel fully confident saying that. I wouldn't bet him a plus 2,500 in this event. This event has too many variables. There's wind. Like I said, it's a shorter course. You're going to see somebody get hot with the putter. And it's, I'm going to throw out one more name. And Peter Uihlein is a guy who competed last week too. So I think like Uihlein, Wyndham Clark, I'd rather target these veteran players at bigger odds than necessarily go to the top of the board this week with Theegala, even though I fully recognize like we're talking about like long-term, who's better. These guys like Grayson Sig, Schwab, Theegala, they're all better. They're all going to be great players. I'm not betting them at this event. You got to go with the veteran guys. You can even look bigger, like I said, with Appy Barnrat, who I still maintain. I think your best overall bet if you're just looking to sprinkle a little bit on one guy this week.
Hey, Hudson Swafford's in the field. He's won this tournament. He's won this season. And then you know what?
Unreal.
He's missed every cut since he won this season. Since then. Dude, what's happening?
I don't know. Screw Hudson Swafford. If he wins again, I mean, geez. But
wait, hold on a second. Eamon just dropped some like news in real quick. We'll hit on before we get out. No, it's nothing crazy. It's just like a little update here. It's some cross sports news in NYC.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we have reports here from Woj and Jeff Passan. So there's progress towards further changes to New York City's private sector vaccine mandate that has inspired confidence that Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving could be back on the court for home games in the near future. Yankees and Mets players would be cleared before opening day 2. Okay. So I mean, like yesterday, it became like more of a story. Like some of these home, like the home players wouldn't be able to play in their home stadium. They're like talking baseball while visiting unvaccinated players would be. And everyone's like, no one's panicking around here. So that kind of made me think, all right, this will probably be cleared out here in like a week or 2. But anyhow, something to keep in mind, especially for DFS and betting purposes and stuff like that, because I mean, hell, if that thing was to hold, it may be off some of those New York area teams. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all the time we have for today.
I think we're done here, man.
All right. Well, I'm going to text Reed and tell him how much fun we had. I'll fire up our group chat.
Ask him if he bet Dash this week.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely will do that. 100%. Jeff, thanks, man. Producer Eamon and TP on the 1s and 2s. Love you guys. And we'll be back for another Wednesday edition with all 3 gorgeous golf gurus next Wednesday.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see everyone later. Adios.
See you, dudes. Thanks.